Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss about creative strategy and brand positioning. First we will talk about creative strategy. Determining what the advertising message will say or communicate, it is the ability to generate fresh, unique and appropriate ideas that can be used as solutions to the communication problems. Creative without strategy is called art. Creative with strategy is called advertising. That's how we define advertising. The outline prepared by the creative team of an advertising agency for the launching of an advertising campaign or message. A creative strategy is generally the result of a team composed of one or more copywriters, an art director and a creative director. The creative strategy generally explains how the advertising campaign will meet the advertising objectives of the business. A definition by Jeff I. Richards. A written statement guides the team who is writing and producing an advertisement. It includes the who, what, when, where and why, popularly known as 5 Ws. Step 1. Clarify your primary objective. The key question you want to answer. What is the primary problem we are trying to solve? Keep it simple. If you can't phrase your objective in 1 or 2 sentences, your project will suffer. Ditto, if you create a laundry list of objectives, that would be a problem. For example, our objective is to increase loans while building awareness of our brand and its product and demonstrating our ongoing commitment to the community. This is a statement. This statement is loaded with feel-good corporate cliches, but it's mostly the kind of fluffy stuff creative people will disregard. The real objective is to increase loans. That's what really matters. Step 2. Define the target audience. If you don't clarify who the target is for your marketing projects, you are giving creative people a license to design for their favorite audiences themselves. For starters, are you targeting existing customers or new prospective non-customers? There is a huge difference in how messages are presented between the two groups. It's also helpful to define the geographic scope. You can follow up with age, gender, ethnicity, marital status and income if applicable. Step 3. Your call to action or key takeaway. This is probably the most important part of the entire creative brief. What one single thing do you want the audience to do, or what's the one thing you want them to remember? If you aren't asking the audience to specifically do something, then you might want to take another look at your campaign. Simply asking the audience to remember something. You can't really measure people's thoughts and perceptions, but you can definitely track their behaviors and action. So bottom line, you probably aren't helping directly improve your organization's bottom line if you aren't asking the audience to do something. Call to action is necessary. So, in this section of your creative brief, you need to spell out exactly what the next step the target audience should take. After interacting with your marketing message, what do you want them to do? Open a savings account in your branch? Apply for a loan online? Call and talk to a service representative of your bank. Step 4. Break down your offer. By this point in your document, you have stated what you want to do. Define your target audience and what you want them to do. Now, here is where you explain why they should do what you want them to do. What's in it for them? Why will they care? What do they get? It helps to break down your offer into features and benefit. Features are straightforward description of an offer's key components, while benefits explains how the consumer's life will be improved. A computer manufacturer might offer a 10 terabyte drive. it's a feature. But what consumers want is all the storage you'll ever need, that is the benefit. Here are some examples of feature and their benefits specific to the financial industry. 25 branches in the metro area. You don't have to waste time driving around trying to find out a branch. 24/7 phone support. You can talk to real people whenever you need help. Integrated PFM budgeting tools. You can finally take control of your financial and feel like you are managing money responsibly. No payment for 90 days. It's like getting something for free for 3 months. Bump rate. You don't have to feel like you did something foolish and you are missing out on money that could have been yours. Step 5. List media channels and deliverables. List all the marketing media that will be used as part of your campaign. Don't just list the media the agency will be responsible for. List everything, but be sure to specify that materials the agency will produce and what you'll take care of yourself or through any other vendor. Many clients retain more than one agency in order to bring a concentration of expertise to various areas. It is good for the agency to know and understand early who else will be involved so that there can be early collaboration with all contributing partners. Take special care to provide all the technical specification you can on the front end of the project. The creative brief should list sizes, file formats and other detail. Creative people hate getting an assignment where the size specified is TBD or in any other synonym. They will sit down and design a beautiful 8x10 ad only to find out later that you really needed a 9x6 advertisement. Sometimes their concept simply won't translate to a new, different format they didn't anticipate. That means costly delays. Step 6. Provide your budget. It's tempting to be cagey with budget when working with advertising agencies, but don't. Agencies hate it when client says just wow me with something and then we'll set the budget. That never works. I would say the single most important piece of information is the marketing budget for the campaign. But rarely does a campaign get more money because senior management like the creatives. Topper says it's important to share budget amount on the front end because every aspect of a campaign is driven by the amount of money available. Step 7. Mandatories. The financial industry is a bit unique in that advertising and marketing materials are federally regulated. So goes for edible products also. Financial products obviously have their own regulations and other products as well. So make sure you spell out exactly which compliance bugs are required. For example, and provide the necessary disclosures upfront in your creative brief. Few things make designer in the financial industry crankier than having their gorgeous layout ambushed by an onslaught of legalese. If they design a 9x6 postcard that accommodates a disclosure or reasonable length, say 100 words, and then later you hand them a full page of terms and conditions they have got to cram somewhere on the layout, they will have a hissy fit. If every layout your financial institution produces must bear your company slogan or web address, be sure to clarify that in your creative brief. Same thing applies to phone numbers and branch locations. Step 8. Attach relevant reference material. Scenario 1. Your ad agency shows you a good concept. Unfortunately, you used that same idea a year ago in a different promotion. You have to start over. Scenario 2. Your ad agency shows you a concept that is very similar to what your competitors have recently used. You have to start over. You can easily avoid both scenarios by including a select set of relevant reference materials, specifically anything you or your competitors used that's in a similar vein. If you have a mountain of data and research to back up your brief, Go ahead and insert the salient facts into your document. Then let the creative team know that you have more detailed research available if they are interested. But don't heap reams of paperwork in their face unless they ask for it. A creative strategy must contain overall objective, the purpose of making the communication, the problem to be solved, what action or change you want to result from the communication. Target audience, to whom you wish to communicate your message. Knowing this group defines what information to convey, how to say it, and how to deliver it. Promise, a single idea that explains why the target audience should take the action you desire. This one idea should summarize the benefit the target audience can expect to receive. Support, facts and perceptions that make the promise believable. Positioning, explain how your product or service is different from competitors and how you want the target audience to think about your brand in comparison with other brands. Tone, emotional guideline that helps select vocabulary and style of presentation. Net impression, what you would like the target audience to state after having been exposed to the communication. Executional guidelines, direction or constraints on the forms and or content of the execution. This section is optional but should be used if company policies, the intended use of the communication, or other factors not embodied in the strategy will provide limits on what is acceptable. In order to prepare a creative strategy, it is necessary to learn why people buy your product or service and which benefit has the largest impact on the target audience. Understanding what that benefit is and why it is important allows you to develop the promise and support sections of the creative strategy. When preparing marketing communications or a sales message, always remember that what you say is more important than how you say it. Strategic options can be broadly divided into product or prospect centered approaches. Product centered strategic options focus on product features and product images. On the other hand, prospect centered options focus on the need and want of customer and are projected through various emotional and rational appeals. Following are the popular strategic options that can be chosen depending on the brand's internal and external environment condition as well as its goal. Generic approaches. These approaches are usually taken by market leaders, monopolists, or category creators. A brand ignores the competition in the category and advertises as if it is the only brand. Unique selling proposition or USP. A brand may have a true and distinctive competitive advantage called unique selling proposition. The USP is a distinctive advertisement that is both valuable to the brand's customer and is unexploited by its competitors. Advertisers should take advantage of it. However, the USP strategy is rather a rarity since most brands have started attaining parity. Brand image. With the product features and benefits attaining parity, the real distinction lies only in marketing communication. In this approach, advertisers try to establish a difference based on factors that are extrinsic to the product. Positioning. While all strategies do recourse to positioning to a certain extent, this strategy is purely about positioning. Positioning is the placing of a product in the consumer's mind relative to competition, while brand image strategy is about creating an image for a brand. Positioning strategy goes a step further and creates a brand image relative to competitors. The emphasis is on establishing the difference or superiority of the brand through a direct or indirect comparison. This strategy is particularly adopted by new entrants in the crowded market or by brands that would like to challenge the market leader. The gospel behind the right positioning in that in order to make waves in the market, places a product must live up to its positioning promise. We will be having a detailed look in the positioning section. Advertising guru David Ogilvy puts it in a different way. The consumer is no moron. She is your wife. Preemptive claim. As the name implies, this strategy is about claiming something not quite unique about one's brand preemptively, that is, getting there first before the competition does. The advertiser is not only one offering that benefit but sounds as if he is. Resonance. Another strategy best suited for products with little or no differentiation. This strategy links the product with an experience or occasion, for example, birthdays, marriage anniversaries, Diwali celebrations, picnic and vacations. Greeting card companies were amongst the first to embrace the strategies. In fact, they went step further and even created occasions to increase product usage. For example, Friendship Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day, World Peace Day and so on. Effective. This strategy uses emotional appeal to serve through products' indifference. It is most effective when competitors are playing it straight. After creative strategy, now we will discuss about brand positioning. Brand positioning refers to target consumers' reason to buy your brand in preference to others. It ensures that all brand activity has a common aim, is guided, directed and delivered by the brand's benefits or reason to buy, and it focuses at all points of contact with the consumer. Brand positioning is a medium through which an organization can portray its customers what it wants to achieve for them and what it wants to mean to them. Brand positioning forms customers' views and opinions. Brand positioning can be defined as an activity of creating a brand offer in such a manner that it occupies a distinctive place and value in the target customer's mind. For instance, Kotak Mahindra positions itself in the customer's mind as one entity, Kotak, which can provide customized and one-stop solution for all their financial services needs. It has an unaided top-of-mind recall. It intends to stay with the proposition of think investment, think Kotak. The positioning you choose for your brand will be influenced by the competitive stance you want to adopt. A brand position is the set of associations the consumer has with the brand. These may cover physical attributes or lifestyle or use occasions or user image or stores that carry it. A brand's position develops over years through advertising and publicity and word of mouth and usage experiences, and can be sharp or diffuse, depending on the consistency of that brand's advertising over the years. A brand's position in a consumer's mind is a relative concept, in that it refers to a comparative assessment by the consumer of how this brand is similar to or different from the other brands that compete with it. A positioning strategy is vital to provide focus to the development of an ad campaign. The strategy can be conceived and implemented in a variety of ways that derive from the attributes, competition, specific application, types of consumer involved, or the characteristics of the product class. Each represents a different approach to developing a positioning strategy, even though all of them have the ultimate objective of either developing or reinforcing a particular image for the brand in the mind of the audience. Positioning by product characteristics or consumer benefits. This is probably the most used positioning strategy and is to associate an object with the product characteristics. Imported automobiles illustrate a variety of product characteristics that can be employed and their power in image creation. It is always tempting to try to position along several product characteristics, as it is frustrating to have some good product characteristics that are not communicated. However, advertising objectives that involve too many product characteristics can be most difficult to implement. The result can often be fuzzy, confused image, which usually hurts a brand. So, one needs to be very particular about selecting this one. Positioning by price and quality. The price quality characteristics is so useful and persuasive that it is appropriate to consider it separately. In India, pricing strategy matters the most. In many product categories, there exists brands that deliberately attempt to offer more in terms of services, features or performance. Manufacturers of such brands charge more, partly to cover higher cost and partly to help communicate the fact that they are of higher quality. Conversely, in the same product, they might also try to be perceived as having comparable or at least adequate quality. Positioning by use application. Another way to communicate an image is to associate the product with a particular use or application. Products can of course have multiple positioning strategies, although increasing the number involves obvious difficulties and risks. Often, a positioning by use strategy represents a second or third position for the brand, a position that deliberately attempt to expand the brand's market. Positioning by product user. Another positioning approach is to associate a product with a particular kind of user or a class of user. The expectation is that the model or personality will influence the product's image by reflecting the characteristics and image of the model or personality communicated as a product user. Positioning by product class. Some products needs to make critical positioning decisions that involve product class associations. For example, Maxim Freeze dry coffee, the first one in the market, needed to position itself with respect to regular and instant coffee. Positioning by cultural symbols. Many advertisers use deeply entrenched cultural symbols to differentiate their brands from competitors. The essential task is to identify something that is very meaningful to people that other competitors are not using and associate the brand with that symbol. Positioning by competitor. In most positioning strategies, an explicit or implicit frame of reference is one or more competitors. In some cases, the reference competitors can be dominant aspect of the positioning strategy. It is useful to consider positioning with respect to competitors for two reasons. First, the competitor may have a firm, well crystallized image developed over many years. The competitor's image may be used as a bridge to help communication another image reference to it. Second, sometimes it is not important how good customers think you are. It is just important that they believe you are better than a given competitors. Brand positioning must make sure that is it unique or distinctive with competitors? Is it significant and encouraging to the niche market? Is it appropriate to all major geographic market and businesses? Is the proposition validated with unique, appropriate and original products? Is it sustainable? Can it be delivered constantly across all points of contact with the consumer? Is it helpful for organization to achieve its financial goals? Is it able to support and boost up the organization? There are various positioning errors such as under positioning. This is a scenario in which the customers have a blurred and unclear idea of the brand. 2. Over positioning. This is a scenario in which the customers have too limited awareness of the brand. 3. Confused positioning. This is a scenario in which the customers have a confused opinion of the brand. 4. Double positioning. This is a scenario in which customers do not accept the claim of a brand. The unique value proposition and brand promise are similar. They both focus on the one or two key points of differences between the brand in question and other brands. Typically, these points of difference are brand benefits, benefits that are relevant, unique, compelling and believable for the brand in question. Brands typically focus on only one or two benefits, and research has shown that people can't link more than that number of benefits to a given brand in their minds. The first or most important benefit is sometimes referred to as the primary brand benefit. The unique value proposition for Volvo is safety as a brand promise. It could be expressed as only Volvo assures a safe ride to parents who care about their children's safety. Brand essence is the heart and soul of the brand. Its timeless quality expressed as adjective noun. Some people refer to the brand essence as the brand mantra, while for others the brand's mantra is synonymous with the brand's tagline or slogan. Brand's benefit can be functional, emotional, experimental or self-expressive. Through market research, one can identify the path from attributes to benefit to values to self-esteem in customers' minds. This process is called laddering. A self-expressive benefit of the Mercedes brand is that it communicates that I have status and money. Brand associations are anything that people link or associate with the brands in their minds. For example, people associate gambling and other vices with the Las Vegas, Nevada brand. A brand personality is composite of different brand personality elements. We focus on 7 to 12 brand personality elements for each brand. A brand personality element is usually expressed as an adjective. The purpose of the brand personality attributes is to help personify the brand and to give it a distinctive brand voice. A brand archetype is the underlying archetype that implies the driving force or motivation behind the brand. With the brand personality, the brand archetype gives a brand a more human feel. Brand archetype includes the pioneer, the wizard, the scientist, the sage and the artist. Brand trigger is a term used mostly in Europe. It refers to anything that is associated with the brand that causes people to think about the brand. It elicits brand recall. Some people refer to a brand trigger as a brand mnemonic device. So, most brand identity elements like name, tagline, logo and jingle are or can be brand triggers. There are 4 essential elements of a best-in-class positioning statement. 1. The target customer. What is a concise summary of the attitudinal and demographic description of the target group of customers your brand is attempting to appeal to and attract? Market definition. What category is your brand competing in and in what context does your brand have relevance to your customers? 3. Brand promise. What is the most compelling, emotional or rational benefit to your target customers that your brand can own relative to your competition? 4. Reason to believe. What is the most compelling evidence that your brand delivers on its brand promise? In this session, we have understood about creative strategy and brand positioning. Thank you.